Paraguay, the roots of its culture are stronger than ever. This is a beautiful land that has gifted its people with the will to seek new opportunities. Taking advantage of its natural resources to thrive. Adding a touch of modernism, while keeping its indigenous culture alive. This is a country where cities are surrounded by lush landscapes. Where this rich red soil feeds a booming agricultural industry. A country that is empowering women through the experiential tourism trend. We'll taste the future with a Paraguayan native plant that's adding sweetness to the world's economy. And we will get to experience a country that cherishes clean energy and the power of water to create a vibrant future. Welcome to Latin America Rising, Paraguay. Even though it's one of the smallest countries in South America, with a population of less than 7 million people, Paraguay has become one of the fastest growing economies in the region during the last decade and an attractive place for investors. Mixing ingenuity and wisdom, Paraguayans have learned to take advantage of their country's natural resources as a way to push the boundaries of success, transforming vast tracts of land into an engine of this thriving economy, while respecting the Guarani culture and language. Further economic growth is fueled by the phenomenal volume of water that flows through the Paraguay and Paraná rivers, which intersect and irrigate this beautiful land. Paraguay is one of the world's top producers of clean energy, and this is the source of pride for all Paraguayans, Itaipu Binational, the largest energy-producing hydroelectric dam in the world. A joint venture between Paraguay and Brazil, this dam harnesses the power of the Paraná River, a wonderful man-made spectacle. The Itaipu Binational Unit was set up to administer the construction in May 1974 as a joint venture between Paraguay and Brazil. Both countries signed a treaty a year earlier in which they planned the utilization of the Paraná River for hydroelectric power. Construction began in January 1975. Jens Spalding is the General Director for Paraguay of the dam.
In 1984, 10 years after its creation, the first turbine began spinning. So we've been generating energy since 1984, over 32 years. We now have 20 turbines, so the installed capacity of Itaipu is 14,000 megawatts.
That capacity makes Itaipu the largest in energy production in the world, with an estimated 100 million megawatts generated per hour. Even though the Itaipu is second in size to Three Gorges Dam in China, the power of the Paraná River is far stronger than that of China's Yangtze. In 1994, the Itaipu Dam was cited as one of the 7 wonders of the modern world by the American Society of Civil Engineers, noting the greatest engineering achievements of the 20th century.
Currently, electric energy is our second largest export as a country after soybean. So it's a very important source of revenue for the government and for the country.
Itaipu produces 75% of the energy needed in Paraguay and 15% of the energy used in Brazil. According to Itaipu Binational current financial statistics, the dam generates $11 million per day, which means the plant is responsible for 8% of the gross domestic product of the country. This dam is visited by 800,000 people each year and is a symbol of collaboration between two countries that are focusing on sustainable progress and clean energy. This massive engineering marvel is embedded in this lush landscape. It makes one wonder how this was created with an eye toward preservation and conservation of the environment. When the dam was built, an artificial lake was created flooding the surrounding area. That's why these protected zones are now important, because they will preserve not only the aquatic habitats of the river, but also the forest and its trees that produce oxygen for approximately 22 million people, according to a report by the World Wildlife Fund. That gives the dam one of the biggest ratios in the world of protected area per kilowatt of capacity installed. Itaipu means the sounding stone in Guarani, and is truly the source of pride for all Paraguayans. Near the hydroelectric dam, in the Alto Paraná region, the farmlands extend as far as the eye can see on the horizon, a symbol of what this country intrinsically is. The perception that Paraguayans often hear about their country is that it's a small country between two giants, Brazil and Argentina, which is true. But beyond what you can see on the map, they have grown economically, specifically in the areas of agriculture and cattle farming. According to the Minister of Agriculture, in 2015, Paraguay exported food products for more than 100 million people. Half of that is delivered to countries within the American continent, followed by Europe and Asia.
Due to its geographical location, the land of Paraguay is ideal for agricultural products, and the driver of that economy is the soybean production. Global demand for biofuels and meat fed on soy has driven a new record this season. For over 40 years, the soybean has been the prominent product. In fact, soy is the dominant export of Paraguay. Before going to visit a soybean farm in Naranjal, I spoke with Juan Carlos Baruja, Paraguay's Minister of Agriculture.
In the specific case of soybean, during the last 10 years, we have duplicated the cultivated land from 1.5 million to more than 3.5 million hectares.
All that cultivated land generates 28% of the gross domestic product. In the community of Puerto Barra, I visited a soybean farm where I met Héctor Cristaldo, the president of the Production Trades Union.
Soy in this context is fundamental in the rotation mechanism for crops and the grain chain of production in Paraguay.
Paraguay has a very special soil and climate conditions that are favorable for grain production. This allows Paraguayan farmers to work year-round, being able to organize their agricultural rotation system to produce 5 harvests in 2 years. And they use soybean as the center of whole chain of rotation. That's why the country has high productivity levels. In 2015, Paraguay produced 8 million tons of soybeans, and this year they are aiming to get to 9 million.
What's particular about this crop in comparison to other ones in the country?
The big difference here is the owner of the cultivated area. It is the Ache community.
In fact, the example set by the Ache community of Puerto Barra is very important. In 2 generations, they have gone from a tribe of indigenous nomads hunting in the forest to farming landowners, all while remaining true to their rich heritage and maintaining economic freedom by producing soybeans. They are working with the latest technology and with the same productivity levels than their neighbors. During our visit to the Ache farmers, we met Timoteo. He told us his story speaking in his own language, the Ache. His friend, the evangelical missionary Jarne Fostervold, arrived in this area with his father 45 years ago, aiming to establish the first contacts with the Western world for this community. Now they are still together, and he translated our interview to English.
When we began planting and growing and our agriculture became bigger, we also realized that we can dream our own dreams. And why can't we have our own tractor? Why can't we? And we actually did. We bought a large tractor and a planter. And when the prices of commodities rose, and a lot of times we'd come in contact with people who say, "Are you Paraguayan Indians? You can't be native peoples." That's impossible because you manage dollars, you have modern things of our world. It's kind of like, this can't be. You can't be native peoples.
Paraguay jumped ahead in the 90s with 5 major grain industries producing 5 million tons of product. Soybean was, of course, the main one. Officials here expect to reach 20 million tons by 2020, where soybean will be more than 50% of the production. Producing food products of the world in a sustainable manner is the key to their success.